Well, it's not exactly news that AI is becoming better than it ever has been before. Personally, I just started using ChatGPT not too long ago, and I'm honestly shocked by some of the things it's able to come up with, especially considering the things I used to hear about ChatGPT like not even 6 months ago. In the music industry, AI has already begun to make itself known, and it'll honestly only continue to get more and more prevalent from here. Now, there's been a lot of resistance to using AI, so I just wanted to share some of my thoughts about how I think AI could be used in the music industry and what considerations we should have when using it in our creative process. So to start with, why do artists hate AI? First of all, I honestly don't think as many artists, or at least musicians, hate AI as is commonly shown or portrayed. When I see videos about AI in music, more often than not, a lot of the musicians that I see are optimistic about what AI's role will be moving forward. This is especially common with songwriters or with other people who are further in the industry. A lot of the resistance I see comes from independent artists or underground artists who really embody that DIY attitude. And I think the DIY attitude is really why most musicians tend to have this resistance towards AI. And if we're using that as a metric, I can see why people would argue that using AI can or does violate an artist's integrity. This would especially be evident, right, if they're using AI in their creative process to help them write or compose music, to help them come up with lyrics, things like that. Now that we've talked about some of the reasons for concern, here are some of my personal thoughts about using AI in music. Number one, I think AI can lower the bar of entry for musicians. There was an interview I saw with the Spotify CEO, Daniel Ek. I think that's how you pronounce his last name anyway. And as much as we all might have mixed feelings about Spotify or Spotify's CEO, he brought up an interesting point about using AI in music. Basically what he said was if you go back and you look at composers from like the classical eras of music, they had to be geniuses in order to come up with their compositions. I think this brings up a good point. You don't need to be a musical genius anymore to bring your musical vision to life. You can use AI tools in order to make compositions or make music with instruments that you might not be proficient in. Now, opening the door for more musicians can be both good and bad. On the good side, it opens the door for easier experimentation. It's easier to bring musical visions to reality without having to find people who can play all the different instruments that you might have in mind. For example, Logic Pro currently has AI session players that you can use to add bass, piano, or drums to your demo or to your song. On the bad side of things, this can feel like cheating, I think, to some musicians, especially those who have put in the work to learn an instrument. And if more artists are able to enter into the industry or release music or compose music or whatever else, it increases artist saturation. Personally, I think I lean more on the side of lowering the bar of entry being a good thing. I think that if a musician has this vision inside them and they're limited by their physical abilities in expressing it to the world, if AI can help them bring that vision to life, I don't see a problem with that, especially if the vision is coming from the person themselves. Number two, using AI can help take the load off of managerial and administrative tasks. We've all seen the memes, right, about how being an independent musician means being a promoter, a content creator, Instagram guru, and all of these other things on top of being a musician, right? Personally, I hate a lot of those managerial tasks that have to get done. Musicians through all time have outsourced these tasks to different people. That's why jobs like promoter and manager and record label exist. Some examples of how I've used ChatGPT specifically to outsource these tasks. I've used ChatGPT to help me organize content schedules. I've used ChatGPT to help me do tour research about venues and about contacts. I've used ChatGPT to get promotional ideas. And I've used ChatGPT to research what opportunities or events might be happening in certain areas so that I can go out and meet people. The way I see it, using AI in this way just gets the busy work out of the way. You still have to go do the legwork, the networking, the contacting people, whatever else, but ChatGPT or AI allows you to save your mental energy for doing that rather than spending it on doing the busy work like researching, planning, and all of that kind of stuff. Personally, I really only have so much social energy, and so if ChatGPT can allow me to use all of my social energy on social stuff instead of draining myself on other tasks, I think that's a win. AI can also help with live performance assistance. There are certain AI programs that can adjust your levels while you're performing live, that can help you have a better sound when you're performing. And these are things that I think are really valuable for independent musicians, especially if you can't afford to pay somebody to come be your sound guy at a smaller gig. As much as you should know how to do your own sound, I'm not saying you shouldn't learn those important skills, but when I'm up there performing, I don't want to have to be worrying, oh, is my guitar loud enough? Are my vocals loud enough? Can everyone hear okay? While at the same time trying to connect with the audience. If AI can do the sound checking for me, and I can just focus on having a good performance, once again, I think that's a win. Before we go on, I just want to thank you for making it this far in the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now for my third and final point, which is probably the most controversial. Here's where I think AI has a place in the creative process. Now, as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of debate about whether or not you can use AI in the creative process without violating your artistic integrity. For my thoughts on that generally, I think that if you're using AI to augment your creative process, you're in the clear. Now, what do I mean by augment the creative process? Well, here are some ways that I've used AI in my creative process. First off, getting started. I have the hardest time getting started, even on creative things. What I've used ChatGPT and AI for is to give me creative prompts to get me started. This allows me to more easily enter my workflow and to have a more productive and enjoyable time creating, especially on days when I'm just having a hard time. I've also used AI as a soundboard to workshop ideas. If I have like a vague idea for a song or something else and I'm not sure what direction I want to take it, I can put my vague impressions of an idea into ChatGPT or into another AI engine and have it give me a bunch of different directions that I could possibly go with it. Now, I wouldn't use AI to compose my entire song, but what I could use AI to do is choose a path that I want to take, and then it'll get my ball rolling so that I can continue on. Now, I do want to say here, obviously, I would prefer to workshop ideas with another person. Sometimes that just isn't possible, or it isn't as accessible. I'm not in a place where I can every day get with other creatives and workshop these ideas face to face. On days where I'm not able to network with other people face to face, AI can really help still workshop ideas. So personally, I think that if you're using AI to augment your creative process and to help you along, but you're doing the creating, there's not a problem and it doesn't violate your artistic integrity in doing so. So some of my final thoughts. I don't think that AI is going to displace human musicians anytime soon. Especially when it comes to composers and songwriters, I just don't think that AI has the ability to create a genuine human piece of music on its own. Sure, AI is progressing fast, sure, a lot of advances are being made, but I just don't see a robot or AI's creative abilities rising to that of human expression, maybe ever. Especially when you consider that fans of music are not just in it for the music itself. They're there for the process, they're there for the individual behind the music, they're there for the story behind the music. And I don't think that AI is going to replace genuine people who want to make a connection with others through music. What I do think might happen is we see musicians who resist the use of AI being displaced or put out by musicians and artists who do. So there you have it. What are some of your thoughts about using AI in music? Do you think that I'm totally off base saying that musicians should use it to augment their creative process? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead and share this video with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.